Back to Israel Business Weekly. This week, the business of baseball in the Holy Land. Now that Team Israel is qualified for the Olympics for the first time in 2020, popularity of the sport is on the rise. Most of the squad members are not actually Israeli, at least by birth, rather American Jewish players who have made Aliyah, becoming Israeli citizens in order to play ball on the national team. And joining us right here in the studio today is someone who needs no introduction to longtime Mets fans especially. He has been called one of the most enduring Jewish players ever. Art Shamsky, who played for the Miracle Mets. He's also author of the book After the Miracle, The Lasting Brotherhood of the 69 Mets. We're going to talk about that. He's also the author of The Magnificent Seasons. Art, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Listen, you're here with us today on IBW, but it was back in 2007 that you were in the IBL, so the Israel Baseball League. One season, but it was you, Ron Blumberg, Ken Holtzman. You were announced as managers at the time. It was something that lasted 1 year, but for you, you were the skipper of the Modi'in Miracle.
The Miracle, we lost in the championship to Ronnie Bloomberg's team, and it was a great experience for me to be there. I learned a lot about the state of Israel and the whole country, the country surrounding, and to spend a summer in Israel was just magnificent for me. I love managing. The baseball itself was not the best baseball in the world, but I do believe it was a prelude to Israel getting interested in developing the game over there. I've been back doing clinics and done some things for the Israel Association of Baseball. But I do think that league, even though it only lasted 1 year, was really the starting point for Israel to take a more active role in developing the game over there. And since they've gone into the World Baseball Classic a couple times, and now they made the Olympics, which I think is great. And so I'm very proud to have been part of that initial thrust of baseball and softball for girls and softball for men over there that really kind of has helped develop the game.
Did it change you, your time there as a skipper?
It did. I had never managed before, and it was wonderful. I really learned a lot about managing, even though the baseball itself, like I said, was not the greatest in the world. But managing is about learning about personalities and dealing with different guys. And because the guy at the end of the bench down there wants to be playing, and he's not playing, so you got to figure a way to get him involved in the game. And I learned that, and it was really a great experience for me. And I cherish those moments over there because I met a lot of great friends and still have friends over there. And I feel very happy again that I was able to be involved in something that started up and got kids involved in the game. And baseball is a wonderful sport for kids to get together and learn things and teamwork and camaraderie. And so I feel very good about that.
As Jews, we say next year in Jerusalem, but now the national team is saying next year in Tokyo. How big of a feat is this for the national team to be going to the Olympics?
Well, I think it's great. I think it's great for the sport. It's great for Israel itself. I don't know how long that baseball will last in the Olympics. I've been told it's only going to be this one time, and then they're going to drop it. Who knows? They change their mind all the time. But for the game itself, for baseball in Israel, I think it's a wonderful feat. And if they can win a few games and advance a little bit, I think it would be great. The fact that they're there, I think, is terrific.
How big of a boon do you think this will be just to generating that excitement for kids and for business revolving around baseball in Israel?
I think it'll be great because I think the World Baseball Classic did that in its own way, and this is a different thing. This is watched by many, many more people than the World Baseball Classic, and the fact that they've been in the Classic a couple times was great, but now in the Olympics with a chance to really showcase the sport, they've got to find ways to develop some fields over there or some stadiums because they just don't, it's not a priority over there. It's just, you know, for me, I love it and it's a priority, but over there, you know, there's so many other things that are important, but if they can develop the game, it's a wonderful thing for kids to get together, whether they're Jewish or not Jewish. The fact that it does develop relationships and friendships and teaches humility, I think it's great.
How much of a connection did you form to the Jewish homeland when you were there? Because, listen, not long ago, right here in the studio, we had Jeremy Newberger. He was here with Ron Blumberg as well, and they were promoting the documentary Heading Home, which chronicled the journey of these American Jewish baseball players, many of whom had never been to Israel before, and experienced it for the first time and really developed a much more intense emotional connection than they expected to.
Well, you know, when I first was approached about managing over there back in 2007, I didn't want to go. You know, you heard so many things. Well, well, it's not this, it's not that, and I just decided I didn't want to do it, and then finally talked myself into it. And when I went there, I was so happy that I did go, because it was again a wonderful 3 months for me. I met so many wonderful friends, learned a lot about certain situations over there, and the beauty of it is it was spent the whole summer there in Israel, and gosh, I wish I could go back and do some more baseball teaching and some clinics, and maybe I will in the future. But it was wonderful for me, and I'm so glad I was there for the initial year to do it.
Art, I just want to show you this because I told a good friend of mine that I was going to be interviewing you. I'm not sure if we can get this on camera, but this is your baseball card, 1970 Topps baseball card, Topps chewing gum baseball card right here. I told him that you were going to be in and I was going to be talking to you today. He was so excited. He said, oh, you got to show him this. But let's talk about the Miracle Mets, because this was the year after the Miracle Mets, this card. You had said that your time on the team and the way the team came together and pulled off this miracle changed. It was something that was needed for the city. It was something that everybody pulled together around. Why was that? Why was it so needed at the time?
Well, if you remember back, and I'm not sure how old you are, you probably weren't even around at the time, but the late 60s were a terrible time in this country. The war in Vietnam was tearing the country apart, and the Mets, what we did is we made people feel better about their lives and about things that were going on in their lives. And I have people coming up to now, this year is the 50th anniversary, and I have people coming up to me now just saying thank you. Thank you for doing whatever you did to make us feel better at a time when the economy was terrible, the war in Vietnam, the city of New York was going under financially, socially, spiritually, in every way. And we did something. In that particular year, the Jets won the Super Bowl. We won, and then the Knicks won in May of '70, all for the very first time. And so I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to do something to make people feel better about their lives. And anytime as you as a professional athlete can make somebody feel better about their life, then I think you've done something special.
So we hear quite often about Sandy Koufax, Hank Greenberg, about how they didn't play on the Jewish High Holy Days. That year, 1969, the Miracle Run, you didn't play on Rosh Hashanah. And that's something that you had never done before. Do you regret it?
No, because we won both games of a doubleheader, so maybe me not being there helped. You know, you do things in life sometimes that you're not sure why you do it. At that particular time, I thought it was important that I do it, and for whatever reason, it just was something that I was adamant about. And I spoke to Gil Hodges, our manager, and he said, "Do whatever you think is best. I'll back you up." And it turned out that we were playing a doubleheader in Pittsburgh. We won both games of the doubleheader, 1-0. The starting pitchers drove in the winning run, and so I've had people over the years come up to me and say how proud they were that I did that. And at the time, it was just something I thought I had to do. And so you do things in life sometimes that you don't know why, but that particular year I just decided to do it.